breaking news. Returning back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is Will Gholston, the defensive tackle, the longtime Buccaneer. Outside of Levante David, I don't think anyone's been on the Bucs for longer than Will Gholston. Had an interception last year, a part of that defensive tackle rotation. Bucs bring back a very familiar face, and they add to the defensive line just a little bit more. So, initially off the bat, Adam, your first reaction?
Well, I think it's a very good, quality depth signing. Gholston, at this point in his career, he's not much more than a rotational defensive lineman, but he still provides a lot of value, not just in the locker room, but he also played some of his best football down the stretch. As you mentioned, that interception, he got a lot of reps, and he's just a great veteran and kind of glue guy to have. Now, I don't think it's going to change the team's plans regarding getting another defensive lineman in the draft, but off the bat, you kind of like it. It's not going to be the re-signing that sparks the boat parade, but it's a quality move.
Yeah, it's certainly just something to have with a familiar face, a guy that's been in the area, been in the locker room for a very long time. His role has diminished throughout the years. I mean, we're talking about 2 seasons in a row where Will Gholston did not have a sack. So he's gone sackless the last 2 seasons. Played in 16 games last year, started 1, but you got to remember in 2022, he started 9 games. In 2021, he started 10. So he went from 19 starts over the last 2 seasons to just 1 last year. And I think that was more of a product of the injury to Kalijah Cansey, who we'll talk about, and some of the other injuries that went on. Will Gholston had 19 combined tackles last year, 10 solo and 9 assisted tackles. Of course, the big play for him was the interception that happened on the Thursday night game against the Buffalo Bills. I'm trying to pull up on the fly his snap percentage. Yeah, so that was another thing as well. So last season, as far as defensive snaps, he only had 244 defensive snaps. That was good for 23% of those snaps. And again, in comparison to really the last 2 years where I'd say the Bucs started kind of going in a little bit of a different direction with Will Gholston, obviously still using him, but not as much. 2021, he had 44% of the snaps and 507 total. In 2022, 43% of the snaps and 485. So he's been playing less and less each season. I don't think, and you kind of already said it, Adam, I don't know how much this really changes for the Bucs' plans at defensive tackle. I don't think it precludes them from still taking one really in any round. And while Will's here, I don't even necessarily know if that means he's going to play. Again, if he played 23% of the snaps last season, you would have to imagine it'll probably be around that number or even less. So I'm not knocking the move. I just think it's more for a depth piece. And let's just face it, a fan favorite, a guy that people like, sure. I enjoy talking to, great quote in the locker room, and I think it'll be somewhat enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of have to wonder, though, I was kind of thinking heading into this season that last year was his last hurrah. But as you mentioned, with the diminished playing time, if this is really Gholston's last season with the Bucs.
Yeah, you never know. I always felt, because Will Gholston's always been with the Buccaneers, but he's also he's from Michigan. He played at Michigan State. I always felt, and obviously every team is different, every defense is different, but I always felt that maybe he would end up going to the Lions at some point because, he's from that area. The Lions are a competitive team. It would make a lot of sense for him to go there, especially on a cheap deal and, be close to family and everything like that. So that crossed my mind, but who knows? I mean, I think Will's going to want to play for as long as he possibly can. And like I said, good guy in the locker room. So certainly not too much against it if he's not going to be the focal point of the defensive line after Vita Vea and Kalijah Cansey, and we'll see what's up with Logan Hall. The other signing that the Bucs made, they have signed an international offensive lineman. He did play at the University of Cincinnati, so he's not exactly new to America. But they signed Loren Mets, who
you love that last name.
Yes, let's go Mets. Mets. This is Mets with a Z, not a S, like the
even cooler.
Not as cool. He got introduced to American football at the age of 18. Loren Mets. He's from Bavaria, Germany. So kind of just learning about him on the fly. He's getting a second shot at the NFL. This is all on the Buccaneers website. He does not count against the 90-man offseason roster. He last year signed with the Chicago Bears as an undrafted free agent in May, was released before training camp, and got a tryout with the Giants, but he was not on a team in 2023. So, this is a signing. He's going to get an opportunity in OTAs, hopefully gets to training camp, but bit of an international signing. The NFL is big with, trying to install the international program. They obviously play a lot of games overseas now. So another move by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't necessarily know that that's going to be a needle mover by any means. But Loren Mets, your newest Tampa Bay Buccaneer, along with Will Gholston.
And you never know, Matt. He could be a Spielmacher.
He could be a Spielmacher, of course, for those that don't recall. That's how you say playmaker in German. And we used that word a lot when the Bucs were in Germany 2 seasons ago when the Bucs played against the Seattle Seahawks. Remember, that was a crazy game. The Bucs won, which was nice. Julio Jones had a touchdown. Tom Brady went out for a pass, and it ended up getting intercepted. Dave Canales, of course, at that time was on the Seahawks offensive coaching staff. And what else happened? Rachaad White had a big-time game as well.
He did, with that stiff arm.
We're going to talk about Rachaad White soon. But yeah, that was a pretty crazy game in Germany, was it not?
Yeah, and it seems like to continue having ripple effects on the Bucs too, because now they got a German player. And what's most intriguing about Mets, he's 6'9". That might be like the tallest player in the NFL. Like just another kind of developmental offensive lineman who might pan out.